Hello and thanks for joining us here at Winton Raceway for round one of the Australian Motor Racing Series. I'm Luke Heismans, alongside me co-host Kylie King. Kylie, is this not the perfect way and the perfect place to kick off the 2020 season?
Well, the weather gods have been kind to us. It might get a little hot later on, but I don't think the drivers can complain. And if you're here to watch the racing, Winton, as we know, it's perfect. You get to watch the action all unfold right in front of your eyes. So it's the perfect venue, really, to start off this series.
And speaking of action, there are a lot of categories competing, not only this weekend, but over the 7 rounds. What are you most looking forward to?
Geez, that's a tough question to ask. I'm going to be in pit lane most of the time, getting a bird's eye view of all the action, particularly this weekend. Diversity, I think that's the word that comes to mind. Everything from the Thunder Sports Cup, where you've got that grassroots level, but a professional level, chasing their own national title, which is great for them. You've got the miniature race cars. Don't be fooled by the size of these guys. They're nimble, they're quick, they've got that power to size ratio you've really got to think about. But the TA2 muscle cars, if you like your V8 powered engine, if you like it loud, fast, aggressive. We've got some young guns in here, some rookies, as well as some experienced drivers. I think we're in for a treat.
I can't wait for that TA2 series here at the track. They look great and they sound great. As we said, 7 big rounds coming. We'll be leaving Victoria, going to Queensland, South Australia and New South Wales. And one of the people responsible for this epic calendar this year is Matt Barraguana from the AMRS. He joins me now. Matt, thanks for your time. Mate, how has the series grown from last year?
We've grown in leaps and bounds this year, Luke. We've got a fantastic selection of categories to celebrate the 3rd year of AMRS. We've got a fantastic media deal which is going to offer free-to-air TV all around the world. Speed Week, the regular Sunday program, and like I say, all around the world, to social media as well. We're very excited about season 2020 and what the year holds.
Some fantastic sponsors on board for the season ahead too.
Absolutely. We're really happy to have some of our fantastic series categories for the year. GT1, TA2, Formula 3 and miniatures, as Kylie just touched on, supported locally by production cars, the Thunder Sports, National Formula Ford series, and a fantastic new series being kicked off with Toyota 86s for junior development as a preparation into the main game, hopefully, of some motorsport series. So again, we're very excited about 2020. We have some great categories on board, some great sponsors on board, and looking forward to their support. So
now, whether spectators join us at the track, stream live on Facebook, or catch us on TV, what can they expect to see at each round?
Look, we're absolutely confident that we're going to be delivering some fantastic national series motor racing. We know the guys, there's some really, we talk about playing for sheep stations. There's guys playing for sheep stations, I'm here to tell you. So there's some great racing. We'd love to see you at the track, or if you just watch us anywhere around the world or through our socials. We know we're going to deliver a fantastic product to you, our viewers, and looking forward to it.
So there's already some hard racing hitting the track right now. So let's kick things straight off. I believe Kylie Kings is with Gary Roberts and his fantastic mini muscle car.
There's something quite special on the grid at the miniature race cars this weekend. It's a mini muscle car. It's a HQ holder making its debut. The driver behind the wheel, Gary Roberts, not just behind the wheel, but basically he's put this little beast together. How exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting for miniature race cars. It's a new step forward, something we did with Chad. We spoke to him about it about 18 months ago and said, we've got a new concept and we want to do it, and he was all for it. So, yeah, that's what we came up with, the XB Falcon first, and last Thursday we finished this HQ Monaro, and, yeah, we're wrapped over here today.
Now tell us about the specifics mechanically, some prototype stuff in there as well.
Yeah, we've had a lot of prototype stuff, a lot of help from people, tried to keep all Australian companies involved. So Simon Fitzner over in Adelaide has made us a custom transaxle. We've got a Rover V8 in there. We're running against motorcycle-powered cars, so we've kept the power to a minimum. It's a little bit heavier, but we just want to be competitive, middle pack, and just it's more about the show and bringing something for people to watch, bring back the Holden Ford rivalry that everyone's missing.
That's true. And talk about the livery for us. It looks a little familiar, harking back to an era of days gone by.
Yeah, well, keeping in the whole spirit of the muscle car era, and we tried to keep the cars as true to original car as we can. family friends of ours, the Janes. We asked them if it was okay to run Bob's old livery in memory of him. So we've got Bob's old HQ sports sedan, and there's people actually yesterday walking around the pits going, "Oh, Bob Jane's old sports sedan's here," and it's not till they come up and stand next to it they realise it's not the real car. So that's a good indication that we've done the job right. So yeah, we're right.
Well, Gary Roberts, we know you're fast on track. You're a race winner in this series, but geez, you're going to stand out in this. How much fun's this year going to be?
Hopefully great fun. You know, no expectations. It's just a testing year for the mini muscle cars. So I'm just going to go around, do some laps. We finished our first race in it yesterday, and that was a big milestone considering this car was started built about 12 days ago and finished Thursday night. So yeah, we're pretty happy.
Well, Gary Roberts, look out for him in the HQ. I reckon this will be very much a crowd favourite.
Doesn't that little HQ look fantastic? I can't wait to see that hit the track a little later on. Another category that's going to prove to be very exciting is, of course, the Thunder Sports category. And then on top of that, we've also got the Pro Max Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series. They look fantastic. They sound even better. So let's find out a little bit more about that category.
I went to America to replace my existing race car. I met up with Chaz Howe, who builds TA2 cars in the US, as you see beside us here. He spoke to me about the American TA2 series, and I get the concept. I think there's a gap in the Australian marketplace for TA2 racing, but with the same spec engine, not as the American series has it, which they have different engines for different cars. So we came up with the Australian spec for TA2.
I think TA2 racing is one of the best kept secrets in Australian motorsport. Very, very easy to get into. They are fantastic cars. And one of the great things, it's a big bang for buck. It's noisy, it's fast, it's fun and cheap by motorsport standards. I guess the reaction we've had this year has been fantastic from the fans because the cars are so good. I mean, there's very, very little aero, so they move around. Very, very little grip in those Hoosier tyres, so the racing is fantastic. And I think that's one of the things that's really engaged the fans this year is the quality of racing. And of course, the names that you've got in the series. I mean, you've got George Medicki, you've got his father, Andrew, you've got Aaron Seaton, you've got Glenn Seaton engineering the car, a young 16-year-old Nathan Hearn, who beat Aaron Seaton at the last round. You've got some great names and some great depth of talent right through the entire TA2 field.
These engines we run in these cars is a 6.2 litre prefix engine from the US, based on the GM Motorsport motor, hydraulic roller cam, LS9 oil system on them, so they're an external oil tank, basically a dry sump system. They make 525 horsepower on pump fuel and enough torque to burn the tyres off the thing if you want to do that. People will prefer to send the vehicle back to us since though we have the factory jigs in the shop here, we have all the parts, we have suspension components in stock, we have chassis cuts in stock, so we can do a front clip or a centre section or a rear clip of the car. We have all the panels in stock, we can organise the paint, and we're devoted to get these cars back to how they're built from the factory. So we know all the specifications, we work very closely with the factory. If there's any more information we need to know of them, we've got it on tap. So we're basically the factory in Australia.
Category Manager Craig Denyer. We love these race cars. We love the noise. We love the look at them. But we also love the competitiveness. What's in store this year?
Well, a big year, I think, Kylie. I mean, we've got a number of veterans that are still racing, like Russell Wright, who won the series back in 2017, won the Masters Award last year. And you've got a heap of young guys coming through too. John McLaughlin, he's raced Toyota 86s, comes out of Queensland, very, very quick. You've got a heap of other young guys too. Jason Hassett, who hasn't raced for the first time. And a surprise, certainly, that's turned up at Winton, a guy called Graham Cheney. Now, he's a factory KTM rider, but never driven a race car, and this is his first ever race weekend, and he's in the top 5. Amazing. So you've got a real mix of veterans and young guns coming through the field.
And also we've had some that have had mishaps, but they're back racing today, so they're going to be hungry to compete well.
Yeah, Mark Crutcher, he'll start from the back of the grid because he had a clutch failure yesterday. Russell Wright was leading the race, and John McLaughlin and he came together in our second race yesterday, which was a real shame, and both were innocent victims of an engine blow-up and hitting a patch of oil. So Rusty also starting from the back of the grid in car 55. He'll be one to watch.
But for now, let's have a look at qualifying. Let's just see how all the action unfolded as we head to the guys in commentary.
Thank you very much, Kylie. It is, of course, all about the Promax Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series. And we're going to take a quick look at all the qualifying action from yesterday, because it was indeed all about Russell Wright yesterday. Him and his Mustang would set the fastest lap time of a 1:24.8. And hot on his heels was John McLaughlin in car 17, just 0.3 off that time. Joining me in the commentary box is Lachlan Mansell. Lachlan, qualifying sure did throw a few things our way yesterday, didn't it?
It certainly did. It was a great duel between John McLaughlin and Russell Wright at the top of the timesheets. We go on board with Russell Wright in the number 55 car. And it was interesting that he actually set the time quite late in the session. He'd banked a time early in the session. It was a fraction of a second slower than John McLaughlin. His pit crew said, if you want pole position, you're going to have to go back out onto the track and set another lap time. And he delivered. He went out and punched out a time that was quick enough to land that car in position number 1 on the grid.
So as we watch Russell take turns 3 and 4 here on screen, it could be a good time to mention that Winton's actually put in quite a bit of work to fixing up the curbs on the exit of turn 3 and then turn 4 entry and exit.
Not only have those curbs been adjusted, but that whole section of circuit has been re-profiled. And in particular, the approach to turn number 4, you now arrive a fair bit faster. You carry more speed through the corner, and on the exit, you can take a lot more of those curbs as well. So that's a section of the circuit that we've been watching throughout today's proceedings. But Russell Wright, it's in these TA2 cars, it's all about punch out of the slow corners, the big high horsepower V8 engine, the shift up through the gears on the short shoot down into Bowden's Premium Car Care corner, which is turn number 10. It's one of the main overtaking opportunities, and you can see how wide he was right out over that exit ripple strip. So a mega committed lap from Russell Wright.
And it is so important to get the exit out of turn 10 right, because obviously that's going to compromise your speed heading down that back straight. And turns 11 and 12 are so important as well, and also more good overtaking opportunities there.
So there's a lap around the 3 kilometre Winton circuit, the nation's action track, as we call it, on board our pole sitter, Russell Wright. He took honours in qualifying yesterday, and there is the number 55 Mustang. Russell Wright, of course, very experienced in these cars, and we caught up with Russell Wright after the qualifying session.
Thank you. It's kind of a bit lucky, actually, because I nearly didn't go back out for a second run, and that worked. But it's going to be tight because it's 6 cars within a second, so it's going to be a tough race. No, he's well and truly on the money, and he's new to the series, so he's going to go really well. But I'll just have to keep fighting and put the shoulders out, the arms out, elbows out a little bit, and see what happens.
Yeah, we did a couple laps early on, which I made a couple of mistakes in. Came in, readjusted the pressures and calmed myself down, went out and did a quicker lap, which was good enough at the time, but Rusty went out and punched out another 24, so just pipped us at the end, but we're happy with second. Yeah, looking forward to getting through the weekend this time, and to be at the pointy end is really nice. It's our first time here, my first ever laps here were yesterday, so very happy with the pace and looking forward to the weekend.
Of course, it is fantastic to have PWR on board as sponsors for that pole position award. And of course, I want to give a big shout out to the guys at Promax as well. It's fantastic to have them as the naming rights for this race category for this season. It's fantastic to have them on board. Now, we're going to take a look out on track as I believe, Lockie, they're just about to set off on their formation lap now.
So 2 formation or warm-up laps for the Promax Performance Exhaust TA2 muscle cars here at Winton Motor Raceway. And while the cars head off on their formation lap, a good opportunity, I think, Luke, for us to talk about what happened in races 1 and 2 yesterday. Because in race number 1, we saw a cracking battle for the lead emerge between Russell Wright and John McLaughlin, the 2 drivers who started on the front row of the grid. Unfortunately, we had quite a lengthy safety car interruption when Christopher Formosa got it wrong on the exit of turn 2, got the tank slapper happening. It's a scene that we've observed here at Winton on quite a number of occasions, overcorrected the car, fired it into the fence on the left-hand side of the circuit. That car's actually been repaired and will be back out today. So that was race number 1. It was Russell Wright who claims victory. Race number 2, however, once again, a cracking battle for the lead emerged between Russell Wright and John McLaughlin. Unfortunately, there was a contretemps at the end of the race. A lapped car, Jason Hassett, had a blown engine on the run into the sweep. That created a chain reaction of events which ultimately took out Russell Wright's car, and he'll start at the back of the grid. John McLaughlin and Murray Kent on the front row for this race.
In third place, you've got Michael Cooley in his Chevy Camaro and Michael Coulter, followed by Graham Cheney, Graham Smith, Tim Tritton in 7th, Brett Nile in 8th, Anthony Tenkate, top 10 in 9.
Running down through the rest of the field, Peter Hurd out of position number 11. He's one of the rookies on the grid. Paul Hanley, Chris LaRosa, back to Bill Robinson and Mark Crutcher in position 15. Warren Wadley, Warren Truan, Russell Wright at the back, and so too is Christopher Formosa. Lots of damage to the Formosa Dodge Challenger, the General Lee inspired car. The key thing though was there wasn't any damage to the two components that are the most important, the chassis and the engine. So it was a lot of work. They got the car fixed. Formosa is back out on the track.
And you just mentioned it, the General Lee. It is a very easy livery to see, and it's good to see Mark Crutcher back out there as well, because he had some clutch issues during race 2 yesterday. So here we go, heading down that back straight to turn 11. And there's a lot of spectators out there today enjoying the sunshine, and they're about to be treated to some first-class action.
12 laps the distance. Tyre management will become a factor. Only 6 Hoosier Control slick tyres available for these cars this weekend.
So here we go, down the main straight. The lights are on for the TA2 Muscle Car Series start. The lights are out. We are go here at Winton for race 3. And into turn 1 they go. 3 abreast will not work. Out of turn 2, up the hill to turn 3. A very clean start. All cars making it through turns 1 and 2. That's a great way to kick off the race.
Excellent start from Murray Kent. So he's made the jump on our pole sitter, John McLaughlin, and he takes the lead on this opening lap. John McLaughlin found himself sitting behind a Mustang pretty much all day yesterday. Now it's a Camaro that he's tucked in behind on this opening lap. Watch out for some of the faster cars charging through from a bit further back in the pack, including Russell Wright and McLaughlin already on the attack as they head up into the top-end complex of corners, turns 7, 8 and 9.
Now Murray Kent had a fantastic outing yesterday, finishing 3rd and 2nd, but it looks like Mark Crutcher at the rear of the pack is pulling off the track. Some sort of issue there. So unfortunately, that looks like it will be the end of his race as well.
Shame there for Mark Crutcher, but it's tight at the front of the field. Good start as well from Michael Coulter in that aqua-coloured Mustang. There is Mark Crutcher, the number 4 Dodge Challenger, pulled off to the infield. Michael Coulter has made it ahead of Michael Cooling there at the start. So Coulter, the driver who's had previous experience in Oz trucks and even a bit of super truck competition, made the step into TA2 midway through last year and has adapted very quickly to this style of racing. But as they complete the first of 12 laps here at Winton, it is Murray Kent who leads the way. Not by much, though, from John McLaughlin. The margin, 0.2 of a second as they cross the start-finish line.
Murray Kent's going to look in his mirrors and see a sea of blue. And very defensive line there into turn 3, trying to make that car as wide as possible. He does not want to let John McLaughlin by. But can John carry enough speed out of turn 4 and maybe have a look around the sweeper?
Difficult place to make an overtaking manoeuvre in one of these cars on the fastest part of the circuit. But if you take a slightly shallower line into the sweeper, when you flick the car back to the right for turn 6, the kink, and then turn 7, that can sometimes present an overtaking opportunity. These cars all run identical mechanical specifications, regardless of the body shell. They're all powered by Control V8 crate motors, and they have Control chassis underneath those body shells. So it all comes down to the driver, the person behind the wheel, and their ability to extract the maximum performance from these V8 muscle cars.
And it's good to see the other 2 protagonists, Michael Coulter and Michael Coolig, right in amongst it as well in 3rd and 4th. They were up all day yesterday around the pointy end. So do they have enough to catch the 2 leaders as well? There we go, looking at Coulter, followed by Coolig into that final turn. Back down the main straight, there'll be 10 laps left. This 12-lap race. Back to the leader, Kent. McLaughlin hot on his heels into turn 1. Nothing doing there. McLaughlin happy just to sit in the slipstream, but now positions the car onto the inside of the track. thinks better of it over the hill. He's happy to sit behind Murray Kent for a couple more laps.
Just to give you an idea of how tough it is to overtake with the cars being so evenly matched. We know how quick Russell Wright was from his performances yesterday, but so far he's only made it up to 15th position. Not easy to overtake around this Winton circuit with the braking zones being quite short. And really, often the best option is to sit in behind the car in front, intimidate. That's what John McLaughlin's trying to do at the moment, and try and force your rival into making a mistake.
You were talking about the chassis and the engine a little earlier on, Lockie. The great thing that I really love about this category is that while the cars look different with the three body styles of the Mustang, the Challenger and the Camaro, they're theoretically pretty much all the same car underneath the shell, and it is just the driver that separates the cars.
Good to see as well that we've got some new faces in the TA2 series this season. Good battle between a couple of them at the moment. Graham Chaney, who's had a standout weekend, the off-road motorcycle racer. But having said that, he's just lost what would be the top rookie position because Graham Smith sends it down the inside into turn 11. Graham Smith was the best of the rookies for much of the day yesterday, but had a spin up at turn 7 in the opening race. He's been fighting his way back since then, but he's back up inside the top 5. But he locks it up into turn 1, gets the number 27 Mustang all crossed up. That will invite Graham Chaney to attempt to recapture that position. And John McLaughlin still on the attack, putting the pressure on the rear bumper of our race leader, Murray Kent.
You can't help but feel it's not a question of if, but a question of when right now. John McLaughlin definitely has eyes for that top spot.
It's funny, after he got the race win yesterday, he said, well, beauty, I've got some clear track now. I'm looking forward to seeing just how fast this number 17 Mustang can go. But unfortunately, that plan to have clear track hasn't quite worked out. And he's tucked up behind that number 74 Camaro.
And this is exactly what yesterday provided. Just some fantastic battles up the front end. And that's, as not only as commentators, but as spectators, exactly what we want to see. We want to see some hard-fought, but clean racing.
Driving standards so far this weekend in the TA2 Muscle Car Series have been very good. We haven't had too much contact between cars. Murray Kent, very experienced racer out of Queensland. Formerly raced in the Queensland Sports and Sedans category before making the progression to the TA2 Muscle Car Series, which originated in Queensland. Peter Robinson, the man who started importing these beautiful race cars from America. And after starting as a state-based series back in around 2016, it has grown in stature, grown in popularity, and it's now a genuinely professionally run national level series.
As we head back to our lead battle between Kent and McLaughlin. McLaughlin, no stranger to racing either. He was a Toyota 86 racer, wasn't he, Lockie?
And prior to that, raced in the Queensland Hyundai XL Series, did a bit of time attack competition as well. Just interesting to look at the lap time. So the fastest lap of the race so far, minute 27.2, set by Michael Coulter, our third place driver. Interesting to say that the times are a fair bit slower than what they got down to in race conditions yesterday, where they were in the high 25s and low 26s. And I think that's just a reflection of the facts, Luke. The ambient and track temperature today quite a bit higher than it was yesterday. We're looking to get up into the low to even mid-30s in terms of ambient temperature here at Winton today. And a change in third position. Michael Cooley down the inside of Michael Coulter at turn 10.
And now these guys are going to hope that Kent and McLaughlin start to carve each other up and close that gap. As we watch, Cooley just managing to hold on there to third. Murray Kent definitely had a look. I don't think he's going to settle for fourth.
Now, we've got a safety car situation, so there's some incident somewhere around the racetrack that has necessitated our first safety car intervention of the day here at the Winton Motor Raceway AMRS round.
Just having a look around the track.
And we're hearing that there's actually a grass fire somewhere, so there we go. The officials are up there. So we've actually got a grass fire in the middle of the circuit. So our ever hard-working safety and recovery crews getting on the scene very quickly with their fire extinguishers. Could be that a car's had an off-track excursion through there and the hot exhaust has ignited that grass. Great job by our very hard-working volunteer team of officials here at Winton. It's being on the scene to get the extinguishers onto that one.
We've got fantastic marshals, fantastic safety crew. And of course, these races can't happen without all these amazing volunteer efforts. But that was a bit funny, Lockie. You and I both looking around the commentary box looking for a stricken car. Not really looking out for a fire in the middle of the track. But hopefully they'll have that under control in a matter of moments, and we can get racing again.
Something we have seen here in years gone by, where either exhausts have fallen off cars or cars with hot exhausts have gone off the racetrack and then set the grass on fire. Fortunately, it never takes the officials too long to get that sort of thing under control.
So while we're under yellow flag, let's check out some replays of the action already, and what a great start it was from Murray Kent. Getting the jump onto McLaughlin into turn 1 and then leads out of turn 2. I don't think he would have hoped for a better start, Lockie.
Excellent reflexes, wasn't it, from Murray Kent, starting from the outside of the front row of the grid. He made it comfortably ahead of John McLaughlin by the time they got to the first corner. Now, this was the change in third position that we saw a lap or so ago, just before the safety car intervention with Michael Cooley. A fairly textbook move there down the inside at turn 10.
Of course, Bowen's own corner for this weekend, and then the incident that triggered the safety car was, of course, that little grass fire, but it looks like it's all under control now. And we will wait to see when that safety car will be pitting in and we can get racing again.
Well, I think the answer to that question, Luke, is that the safety car is in the pits right now, so set for a race start this time around for what will be a sprint to the checkered flag here at Winton Motor Raceway. 6 laps remaining. It's Murray Kent who's in control of the field. No overtaking or overlapping for the start-finish line off the restart, of course. And McLaughlin once again aggressive off the restart. Puts the pressure on Murray Kent. Looks for a switchback manoeuvre through turns 3 and 4. And Michael Cooley right in this battle as well.
Don't count Coulter out in 4th either. Or Cheney in 5th. I think this is going to be quite a nice little battle here in the last 6 remaining laps for those podium finishes. But right now, we'll watch Kent and McLaughlin. Kent trying to make that car as wide as possible. See him taking a very defensive racing line. He does not want to let John McLaughlin past in fear that John will just start to walk away with it because he is in great form.
Cooley, Coulter, Graham Cheney. It's been an impressive debut for Graham Cheney. Not had a lot of circuit racing experience in any sort of race car, but he's got quicker and quicker and more confident as the weekend has progressed. And right now, running as comfortably the best of the rookies inside the top 5. And I have a feeling that the car that might have gone off the road there at turn 5 to create that grass fire might have been the car of Graham Smith. And we've got problems for Tim Tritton. We've got problems for Tim Tritton, the EFS Mustang. And also Anthony Tenkate's been involved there as well. That's on the exit of turn 10 on the run down to turn 11.
Now, I don't know if there was some contact there or whether someone's just run wide and lost it on the exit. Bowen's own corner, but we'll get back to the action now. And our leaders, it is still Murray Kent over John McLaughlin, followed by Michael Cooley and Michael Coulter. They are your top 4.
And Russell Wright, continuing his march forward, makes the move through on Darren Berry at turn 1. So Russell Wright, who started this race at the back of the grid, has got himself back up to 8th position. Not a bad recovery drive from the former TA2 champion.
You see that front of the car looks white. It should be yellow, but of course, it's the damage that was sustained yesterday from the rear end of John McLaughlin's car as he tried to take some defensive manoeuvres to avoid an incident in front of him. So unfortunate for Russell Wright that he's had to start at the back of the grid, but fantastic to see him already up into the top 10.
The battle for the lead continues. I'm liking the look of Michael Cooley here. He's driven a very sensible and very measured race so far. He currently holds the fastest lap at a 1:27.0. Incidentally, this is going to be the final lap of the race, so we are going to run a bit short, no doubt, because of that safety car intervention.
So John McLaughlin running out of time now, really looking to get past Kent as soon as possible. Ooh, gets it a little bit out of shape coming around that final corner. That's going to hurt him and open the door for Michael Cooley potentially into turn 1. Fortunately, Cooley's got the outside lines.
So that was the checkered flag, so it's Murray Kent who gets the win. Race shortened a little bit. John McLaughlin home in 2nd position by 0.6 of a second. Michael Cooley, he almost got ahead of John McLaughlin there on the line, didn't he? 0.04 of a second, the final margin. between positions 2 and 3, and Cooley recording the fastest lap of the race on the final lap there as well.
Just as we were getting into it, Lockie, we thought there was going to be another cracker of a final lap, but it wasn't to be. So it is Murray Kent that holds on to win from almost flag to finish.
So John McLaughlin finishes second once again behind Murray Kent. John McLaughlin, I think, will be getting a bit tired of finishing in second position. However, by virtue of his consistency, he does lead the points at this stage. He finishes second behind Murray Kent, Michael Cooley, Michael Coulter, Graham Cheney rounding out your top 5.
Brett Nile in 6th. Russell Wright, a fantastic effort to come up to 7th from the back of the pack. Darren Berry, Peter Hurd and Graham Smith round out your top 10.
And then it's Warren Truitt in 11th position, back to Paul Hanley, Chris LaRosa, Bill Robinson and Christopher Formosa, who started at the rear of the field. Warren Wadley in 16th position, back then to Tim Tritton and Anthony Tenkate, who we saw involved in a bit of drama in the closing stages of the race. Unfortunately, Mark Crutcher not making it to the finish, but very, very well done to Murray Kent. Grabs the race victory, his first in the TA2 National Series.
I think you'll be loving life, and a big grin from ear to ear in that Chevy Camaro. That was a great drive. So let's take a look at how that race unfolded. Let's talk it through, Lockie, because it certainly was action-packed, but it was Murray Kent that got the jump at the start.
There was a bit going on, wasn't there, right from the get-go, but an excellent reaction there from Murray Kent, who, as we mentioned, started from the outside of the front row. Bit of close action a bit further back involving Graham Smith and a couple of other cars.
And it was Murray Kent that would lead. John McLaughlin did as much as he could to get past, but it just wasn't to be. Murray positioned that car beautifully to play defensively. Cooley got the jump onto Coulter in turn 10 to jump up from 4th to 3rd and get that podium. And then, of course, it was a safety car thanks to that grass fire. And like you said, Lockie's probably someone running wide, a nice hot exhaust lighting that grass up.
So the race resumed after a brief safety car intervention to extinguish that fire, and Murray Kent once again had all sorts of pressure coming from behind from John McLaughlin in the Mustang. The battle was raging a bit further back. Russell Wright continuing his charge up through the field. We had this contretemps on the exit of turn number 10 involving Tim Tritton and also Anthony Tenkate.
So, Dusty, it's hard to see what actually happened. But that is not the fastest way around this track. But it was the story of Murray Kent versus John McLaughlin, and it was Murray Kent from start to finish. I think he'd be exceptionally happy with the way he ran that race.
An exemplary performance, and it nets him the race win, and John McLaughlin just holding on to second in a drag race to the line. Michael Cooley throwing down a late challenge there.
So well done to Murray Kent. Winner of race 3 of the Promax Performance Exhaust TA2 Muscle Car Series here at Winton. So 3 races, 3 different race winners.
Indeed. So we've had John McLaughlin, we've had Russell Wright, and we've had Murray Kent, but it's McLaughlin who leads the points. And Kylie is down with our race winner in pit lane.
Murray Kent, congratulations. I believe this is your first race win in this series.
It is, yeah. I'm a bit stunned, to be honest. Yeah, I got a fantastic jump and probably held John up a little bit, but it was a good race. Yeah, stoked. Absolutely stoked.
And what's it like having a driver of the calibre of John right on your hammer through that race?
Oh, yeah, look, I'm not saying I'm better than him, that's for sure, but I just got a good jump and, yeah, he was right on me the whole way, so it was a fair push. It's great.
Well, you've certainly made your mark here, Murray. Well done. We'll catch you a little later on and see if we can have a little wander and catch up with John, who's already got out of his race car. The boys debriefing. John? Murray's rather kind. He thinks you're rather kind on him, but some great racing, and he was hard to get round in the end.
Yeah, not real happy. I made a few moves there and he closed the door on me, which we'll have a look at the footage after and see how it was. But I stuffed up the start, which was my fault. I don't know, these guys got a good jump on me, which gave up the position. And then it's hard work to get back there in these cars. But we'll have a look at the footage and see how it was. If I was any less kind, he probably would have been in the dirt. So.
All the gloves are off already. Here we go. Action aplenty in pit lane. Stay tuned, folks. But also on the podium, Mark, what was it like from your perspective, the race?
Oh, it was great. That's probably the best result I've had in quite a while, and it was a good battle with Michael Coulter. I thought I was stuck in 4th then after that, once I lost that spot, for sure, but somehow I got it back, and I'm really happy with that, so I'll take it.
And the quality of the racing, what's it like in the heat of the battle out there?
Oh, it's tough. The cars are so similar, and it's really hard to pass. It's like the weakest point the cars have. It's so difficult to do it. You really got to pressure the person in front to make a mistake and then try and capitalise on it. And if you don't, you're just stuck in that position and hope no one behind you tries the same thing. Yeah.
Tough stuff. Thanks for that, and well done on the racing today. And, the words are out. I was having the boys have a chat to each other, so I might just monitor these guys in the lane. But if you think they're not out for much in this category, they certainly are. So John certainly fired up after that race. So no doubt going to have a little yarn to his friend on the podium.
Great job down there, Kylie. And I think Michael Coolidge will be impressed with his little name change there. I was actually chatting to him yesterday afternoon. He finished the race with 2 rear punctures in race 1. And he felt like he still had a little bit more to offer for race 2. He didn't feel like he was on it. So it's glad to hear him talking about, feeling a little bit more pumped up with that 3rd place finish.
Gee, I'll tell you what, if he had a couple of rear punctures, then he did a good job just to get that car to the finish line in a competitive position.
He certainly did. I mean, he was saying he didn't know what was wrong with the rear of the car. And when he pulled into the garage, the mechanics have had a look. And, yeah, both rear tyres are both punctured.
Oh, that's what was wrong with the rear of the car.
Yeah, you'd notice that. You'd notice that at these speeds around this track, that's for sure. But a fantastic effort from our top 3 drivers. Again, another great race from the TA2 Muscle Car Series to kick off round 1 of the Australian Motor Racing Series. Lockie, if this continues for 2020, we are in for some fantastic battles.
We certainly are, and it just shows, I sort of predicted coming into the weekend after having a chat to the category manager, Craig Denyer, that it would be wide open, and Kylie's got some more news for us from down in pit lane.
Well, I've got Russell Wright with a little bit of a hard luck story yesterday, Rusty. Firstly, talk us through what happened yesterday.
Well, we qualified on pole, won the first race, went into the second race and had a comfortable lead. I started with slightly lower tyre pressure, so as mid-race came on, car started coming on really strong, and it just got a little bit of a lead away from John McLaughlin. Came up on lap traffic, and at that very time, car in front blew an engine. So I saw the smoke, saw the fire. I thought it was going to be oil, so I started slowing down, just taking evasive action. John McLaughlin behind, come up at speed, didn't really take evasive action to start with, but perhaps didn't see it. Maybe I blocked his view. It went into a slide, slid backwards, and pulled the front off my car as he went past. He was actually on a trajectory to hit the car that had stopped on the track. I turned him around straight and he drove between the 2 cars and went off and won the race.
Isn't that the luck of motorsport? All very unlucky, because you were only a few laps shy of getting that checkered flag. But today, starting from where you did to pick your way through, how do you assess your performance in that one?
Look, it was tough because the straights aren't long enough to get a decent run, so you get up almost beside a car and they've got right to the corner, so then you've got to back out of it. So several times there was some really close shaves. So I think I got the camera on board the car, so I'm sure there'll be some good footage there, but we picked up a few cars, so we're halfway up the field now. They've got to try and do the rest of it in the last race, hopefully.
Yeah, it was certainly a very good result to get you there. And, geez, if anyone's going to be out there racing feistily, it'll be you. You've got a point to prove, haven't you?
I've still got a little bit of kick in the old fella here, I think. So, yeah, it'd be nice to come away with a few more points. It's a real shame to miss the second race yesterday because it's a DNF, so it's a bad start to the year. But anyhow, we'll see what happens in the next race.
I appreciate that. Boys, I'm going to try and have a word with Chris Formosa. Feel free to cross back down to me later or follow me down if you like. But I did catch up with him. He had a little bit of a shakedown. So he was one of the drivers, as you know, who hit the concrete wall really hard. And you sort of thought he's not going to be able to get back out. But that just goes to show the chassis was undamaged. A few bolt-on componentry that you could take off and replace with these TA2 muscle cars. So he was actually able to get back out there. He had a little bit of a shakedown before they raced this morning just to make sure he was safe. So, yeah, I will track him down and get to the bottom of that, but Chris Formosa managed to finish the race, so that was great. Back to you boys in commentary.
Thanks, Kylie. It's great to have you in pit lane this weekend, but we're about to get underway of our next fantastic race. It's, of course, the Thunder Sports Cup. As we go live to track now. The light is on. We are about to go racing here at Winton for race 2 of the Thunder Sports Cup. The lights are out, and here we go.
Good start from Stephen Shilby. Once again, he was the winner of both races yesterday. He moves into the lead ahead of Mark Tracy as they negotiate their way through turns 1 and 2.